Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mr. Crane here, and today we're going to be learning how to read tarot cards, part 1. So I've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys. I posted a video about tarot cards and then also another video about oracle decks. And then I got a lot of responses and you guys started reaching out to me. Some of you guys started emailing me, telling me that you're actually really mostly interested in tarot cards, but you don't really know where to start or how to learn it or where to go or what books to buy. So I figured I will try to help with that and start putting out videos helping you to learn to read tarot. At least the best way that I know how to help by teaching someone. This is going to be a series of videos that are going to come out because there are 78 cards in a deck, and even the majors itself are going to have to be broken up into 3 different videos because there's just so many cards to cover. This particular video, we're going to be going through cards 0 to 6, or the Fool to the Lovers, and I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite deck for all of these videos and all of these series to teach you this. The reason why I'm going to be using the Rider-Waite to teach you tarot is because the majority of tarot decks that you find on the market today are all based off of the Rider-Waite deck, and I want to be able to teach you tarot on what it's actually based off of so you have a decent foundation when you go and you buy your other decks. At least you know where the symbolism is actually coming from. Also, I would like to point out is throughout the videos, you will notice that I will be referring to my notes that I have down here because there's so much going on with tarot. There's so much in the imagery and the symbolism and the colors and the people that it would be unreasonable to think that I can recall all that information from memory on the spot like that. I can't. I'm awesome, but I'm not like that awesome, okay? So I'm just going to try my best and we're going to do this. So hopefully what you guys can do, if you guys have a Rider-Waite deck, or even if you just have a deck in general that's not Rider-Waite, pull the deck out, and it'd be really, really cool if you can actually go through the cards as I'm talking about them on this video, so you know what it is that I'm talking about. So let's jump right into it. So the first card is the very first card in the deck, which is card 0, and that is the Fool card, okay? So the Fool card will pop out when you're doing a reading, when you're about to embark on a new journey or you hit a new phase of life, any type of newness, anything that's brand new to you that you've never experienced before, whether it's a new idea, whether you want to move, whether you want to get a new job, whether you want to start a new business, anything that's really, really new that will cause you to begin a new path or a new chapter of your journey in life is when the Fool card will come out. The reason for this is because you are beginning at the beginning of the cycle. You are beginning the cycle of the Fool's journey. So tarot is actually a documentary of the Fool's journey. The Fool is me, the Fool is you, the Fool is anyone that you're actually reading for. We are all considered the Fool, right? We incarnate into this life to learn a lot of lessons. We incarnate into this life essentially the Fool, and as we go throughout life and we learn these lessons, we kind of grow and we graduate. So the beginning of a phase of a journey or a chapter in your life is the Fool, and that's when you notice that this card will pop out. Now, if you look closely in this card, you will notice that he's standing on a cliff. And him standing on the cliff is him having the need to take a leap of faith, right? It is his need to take a risk, to get that new thing, or to start that new chapter in our life. Anytime we've all started a new chapter in our life, it always felt like it was us taking a risk. We didn't know what was on the other side. We probably didn't know if it was a good decision, but we had to take that leap of faith. And this is what he's about to do. He's about to take that leap of faith and jump off of the cliff. Behind him, you see this white dog. This white dog actually is his companion. Now, depending on how you want to read it, you can look at it as a symbol of your spirit companions on the other side, guiding you throughout this journey of life. Behind him, you have these mountains here, which are like snow-covered mountains. It looks like water, but they are mountains. Anytime you see mountains in a card, mountains represent sort of the potential of what you can do, what you can amass, of where you can go. It's the potential that you can accomplish in your spiritual journey. It's how far you can go. So whenever you see a tarot card that has mountains in the background, always know that that tarot card is trying to show you that there is room for growth and that there are other decisions and choices that can be made in order to achieve success or prosperity, which is the top of the mountain, right? Now, if you look at him, you see he's holding a flower here. That is his innocence. That is the Fool's purity, right? Because the Fool he's new, he's taking a risk, he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's innocent, he's pure. And it's before he went to take a leap of faith, he stopped for a minute and he smelled the roses. And so that is actually a symbol of innocence and purity. Kids have a tendency to do it. They have a tendency to stop and look at whatever it is that caught their attention. That's what it is that he's done right here. So sometimes when you see this card pop out, it can also mean that it's time for you to take a step back and try to find that childlike nature of yourself that you've probably lost along the way. Now, if you look further at the card, you'll see that he's holding some type of stick with a bag there, maybe like a knapsack that he's holding that he's taking with him. This bag here represents his worldly possessions, right? He finished whatever phase that he had in life. He's taken some of the possessions or his worldly possessions that he has successfully attained, and he's bringing it with him on his journey. Notice it's a really little bag, right? There's not a lot of things with him. He's not actually carrying luggage with him. And what this is trying to tell you that sometimes when you take a leap of faith, it's okay and necessary to leave things and people behind. Take only the things that serve your highest good and are meant for your greatest potential, and leave everything else. And that's why he's doing, which is why he doesn't have anything else left. You have the sun all the way up in the corner, which is lighting the way for him. So he will be guided along the way. He just needs to take that leap of faith as the Fool. Okay. So again, Fool represents energy, innocence, purity. It's that newness. It's that embarking on something new. It's the turning the page of life, beginning a new chapter. Just anything new, anything that requires you to do something. So if someone asks you, hey, I've really been thinking about moving. I hate it here, but I've never lived anywhere else in my life. What should I do? And you see a Fool card pop out, that means it's time to go. It's time for you to take that leap of faith and continue living the rest of your life. So next, we're going to be dealing with the Magician card, which is card 1. Now, as we move through the cards, I'm going to start holding up all of them, because what I want you to see is that all of the cards are actually interconnected. It's a story that's actually weaving through, right? They're not separate cards. They're not separate stories. They should be read as a storyline, as a storybook, because they all connect with each other. So in this particular card, we have the Magician here, right? The Magician is you, right? It's after you take your leap of faith. What this card is reminding you is that you have all the tools, abilities, capabilities, spirit guides, ancestors, universal help behind you in order to make anything that you want to happen. This card is reminding you that you are the magician and you have the resources to find success in any avenue in what you want to find success in. This card is also reminding you that should you forget your resources or you don't know where to find them, that the universe will step in and help you find them, okay? So the reason why this is that if you look closely at this card, you'll see an infinity symbol above his head. The infinity symbol reminding you that you are infinite, that you are really an immortal being, because you are a spiritual being fulfilling the human experience, which is why this is trying to remind you that you do possess all the tools and the abilities to do whatever it is that you want to do, because you are actually quite magical. You are of the universe. You are of the stars. So of course you are a magician. Of course you can do whatever it is that you want to do, okay? On top of that, if you look at this table, you'll notice that there's a cup here, there's a sword here, there's also a wand here, and I can't quite see, and then there's a pentacle. So what you see on the table is the suits, all 4 suits of the tarot. So you have your cups. Cups in the tarot represent water. They represent emotions. You have your wand on the table, which represents fire, your passion. You have a pentacle on the table, which represents anything in the material world and money, jobs. And then you also have the sword on the table as well, which represents air or your intellect or your mental state. They are all on the table in front of him, which means that he actually has access to any of these things at any time, and he can use whatever he wants to use at any time, and he will always have access to it. And then you also see at the top in his hand, he is holding a wand. And then if you look closely, the wand has 2 ends to it. He's pointing up to the sky. This is a symbol of as above, so below. What happens up there happens down here. When you are a magician, and people that watch my candle magic videos, I always say you want to send it to the ethers. You want to send it up to the sky so you can bring it back down. As above, so below. When this card comes out, it is a reminder that you are a magician and that you have the tools that you need inside of you to accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish. The reason why it's attached to the Fool card is because it's simply the next step. When you begin a journey, you begin the journey as the Fool. You begin with innocence, you begin with purity, you know nothing, you know no one, you're going on a leap of faith, and you don't really know what's next. As you move to step 2 of the journey, you get to the point where you have a self-realization that you do have everything it takes to accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish, or maybe somebody has to remind you. And within all of that, you have all the tools that you need in order to make it happen. Also consider the fact that his infinity symbol right here that reminds him that he's an infinite being is also sitting on the top of his head, signifying the fact that he's wearing it as a crown. And if you look closely here, he's also glowing, which can tell you and signify the fact that he's actually been touched by the universe. So going on further, we then meet the High Priestess, which is number 2. She is the next step in this story. The reason for that is when you're going along the journey and you start, everything seems beautiful, right? Everything seems like really, really exciting. You have high hopes, and then you get sort of the surge of fire, the surge of energy, and sort of optimism. You become the magician. You start moving things around to make things happen, and then you hit your first obstacle, right? Because that's life. And then you hit a point where maybe you feel like you don't really know what to do, or you don't have all the information, or you don't know what's going on, or you feel like there are things that are wrapped up in fog, things that may be wrapped up in mystery. This is where the High Priestess comes in. The High Priestess signifies our intuition, she signifies our psychic ability, and she also is a symbol of things that are hidden, the occult, and secrets. If you look at her, she also kind of seems like she knows something that you don't really know, right? Now, she's sitting in between 2 pillars, a black pillar and a white pillar. These pillars are also a symbol for people in the Bible. I don't remember what their names are, but the pillars and the reasons for them actually go farther. And she's blocking the entryway between the pillars. Behind her is a veil, and the veil is covered in pomegranates. So pomegranates is actually a symbol of abundance. The veil is a symbol of mystery, you not really knowing what's on the other side. So imagine you're going da 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 da, you're going about your journey, right? You're on this Fool journey, and you hit a moment where you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And it's like it's that first obstacle. It's not a big deal, but it's the first time you go, oh, what's now, right? And then you meet the High Priestess, and she's sitting there. The High Priestess is this type of energy. She doesn't talk, she doesn't give hints, and she just kind of looks at you all mysterious and everything. What this card is reminding you to do is to take a minute and go inside. Look inside yourself, examine your intuition, examine your gut feeling, and examine how it is that you feel about a situation. Because what you feel about a situation is the right feeling of the situation. How do you know that? Her veil, or the veil behind her, which is pomegranates, which signifies abundance, which lets you know that what you feel, what your intuition is saying, is actually the right thing to go forward. If you look at her, she is wearing the color blue, blue again being water, blue again signifying emotion. And if you look all the way at the bottom of her robe here, you can see that her robe turns into something that looks like water, which is again signifying emotion, right? So that is you going on the inside, you kind of examining your emotional state and figuring out where your intuition sits and what you actually feel on the inside. What's the priestess in you saying, right? So to speak. What's that magical priest or priestess in you saying about a situation? If you look at her feet, you see that there is a crescent moon here. If you look at her head, her crown is actually the triple goddess. This is also a reminder that we are one of the universe, right? Because she's wearing the moon, she's working with the moon's energy, and she's also working with the moon cycle. Again, if you look at the bottom of her robe, you see that the robe turns into water, which is another reminder that she is one with the universe and that she works with the moon cycles. And what does the moon do? The moon regulates the tides, it controls the water, which means the moon also has the ability to influence your emotion, right? So again, when this card comes up, it's a reminder to take a look at what's happening to your emotions. And when I say what's happening to your emotions, it doesn't mean that your emotions are out of whack. It just means that it's time for you to have a better awareness of what's happening on the inside of you. Because when you become in tune with yourself, you become a lot more intuitive, because this card is definitely the card of intuition, the sort of psychicness and hiddenness and occult stuff. In her hand, she's holding the Torah or the Book of Secrets or the Book of Wisdom, depending on what it is that you want to look at. And the idea being that she holds the secrets. If you look at yourself as the High Priestess, then you can be the person that holds your own secrets and also hold the secrets to the universe. And she's also a reminder once again that your intuition is okay to use to guide yourself, because you will use the intuition to step through the veil of pomegranates, which is also the veil of the unknown, to the other side. And no matter what that is, it'll be fruitful for you because you trusted your intuition. Now, the next card is card 3, the Empress. So now you've gone through the 0 card, 1, 2, or the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess. Next up, you got the Empress, card number 3. So the Empress in the card in the tarot system means fertility, the birth, new stuff, new creativity. It's the birth of something new, right? It's fertility. In a lot of tarot decks, she's actually depicted as being pregnant. She doesn't necessarily look too pregnant in this tarot deck. Now, again, if you look at her dress has pomegranates on it as well, another symbol of abundance. If you look at this right here, this is a field. You can say it's wheat or corn. Again, doesn't really matter. It's another symbol of abundance. On her chair at the bottom, there's a shield here, the sign of Venus, letting you know that she is governed by Venus. So this is also the card of love and romance and beauty as well. She's sitting on a blanket here that's red, which is a symbol of power. And this is also letting you know that power can be womanly. It can be softer, or it can be nurturing, right? Because this is also a card of motherhood because of fertility. And what comes with that? It comes with nurturing. It comes with motherly energy, something like taken care of, caregiver, all that type of stuff. And then again, if you look all the way in the back, you'll see more right here. You'll see more water, more emotions, more things like this. There is also a thing that needs to be pointed out all the way at the top, which you see with her crown. Her crown is another reminder, again, that you are one with the universe and that you can work with the laws of the universe to make whatever in life happen that you actually want to happen. If you look at her crown closely, you will see that there are actually 12 stars on it, which is a symbol of the zodiac. There are 12 signs in the zodiac. She is one with the stars. Also, when it comes to the Empress, and I want to go to my notes because I want to make sure that you have everything, because it's hard to remember all of these things at one time, guys. She not only is she fertility, she is creativity and prosperity, because those things are things that you have to birth. You have to birth a new idea. You have to birth passion. You have to birth money. You have to birth success. It's all new stuff. So when she grows a baby, that baby can literally be anything. This is showing you how powerful the feminine energy actually is. This is also the card of, like I said before, nurturing, and with that comes love and affection, and then also feminine sexuality, and sometimes, depending on the other cards that are around it, marriage. So next card after that is the Emperor. So this is the Empress counterpart, the Emperor, if you take a good look at him. Now notice the whole card is red. So red, like I said before, is a symbol of power. It's the color of power. This man is sitting on his throne and he is ruling his domain with power, with force, with authority. If you look at his throne, you will see that there are rams on it, right here, right here, right here, right here. The rams are a symbol of Taurus. So this card is heavy Taurus energy. It's very stubborn, but it's very stable. He's ruling with an iron fist, but he's getting it done and everything is right. Now, if you look in his, over here, where my finger is, you will see that he's holding a wand, kind of like the magician. A wand is a symbol of wielding power, wielding energy, casting, sending your energy where you want it to go. And on the other hand, if you see he's holding something in his hand right there, that little ball thing, that's the globe, or that's the world. It's him holding his world in his hand. He is holding his dominion in his hand, and he's sitting there choosing what he wants to do with it. This is the father figure of the tarot deck, as well as the Empress being the mother figure to get in the tarot deck. So she rules with kindness, with softness, with affection, with love, and he rules with an iron fist and a lot of authority. So when you see this come up in a reading, it represents authority or hard power, or somebody around you ruling with an iron fist. Maybe that's even you. And you can also see, if you look really closely at his eyes, he's side-eyeing, which suggests that there's something happening on the other side of the cards that we can't see, that he probably doesn't really like, that's causing him to exercise his power probably a lot more forcibly than he probably would. That's the Emperor. Next card after the Emperor is the Hierophant. So you have the mother, you have the father, they're leading, but what are they leading in? There's no structure, right? You can lead something, but who built the structure? This guy did. The Hierophant is the spiritual teacher. He represents everything that's structure. So this can be religion, this can be societal expectations, this can be rules. This can also demonstrate things like marriage, anything that's traditional, traditional rules, traditional boundaries. This is the Hierophant. Kneeling below him is his two subjects, or his disciples, or his students, or whatever it is that you actually want to call that. He's got two fingers up. This can be interpreted as another symbol, as above, so below. And if you look, he's also sitting in between two pillars, which is a balance, right? Everything in spirituality requires a balance. You see it in the priestess card as well, in the white and the black here with the B and the J. Again, I don't remember their names, but it is biblical. And surprisingly enough, the majority of the tarot deck has biblical references. The church says that tarot is of the devil, but a lot of it is derived. There's a lot of Christian symbolism in tarot. So he's got his pillars. So he's sitting in front, which represents balance. Now, again, let me go back to my notes because I want to make sure that you guys get everything that you guys are supposed to have when it comes to this. He is a symbol of higher authority. This is also who the Emperor consults with. When the Emperor doesn't have anywhere to go and he's looking for someone to give him advice, he goes to this guy. He goes to the Hierophant. So the Hierophant is also a symbol of moral code, moral character, because it's like spiritual authority in whichever way. But with spiritual authority comes rules and traditions and maybe sort of outdated systems. And when you take that and you consider the fact that these two work together, they're probably outdated systems that are hard to get out of, right? Because the people that are in charge of them rule with an iron fist. And so these two together represent really hard boundaries that are tough to crack and break out of. The next card, and the last card for this particular part, because I don't want to get so long-winded that you guys get bored, is the Lover's card. So if you look at the Lover's card here, you have Adam and Eve inside the paradise, right? And in front of Eve, on this side, you have the burning bush with the serpent, you've got the tree of knowledge here with the serpent, and then on the side by Adam, you've got the burning bush, and then you have an angel kind of descending from the sky, who I believe is actually Archangel Gabriel. And they are obviously about to make a really tough decision. Now, in symbolism, the serpent, actually, contrary to popular belief, is not evil. The serpent is actually a symbol of knowledge. When Eve is convinced, so to speak, to take the apple from the tree, and she's talking to the snake, what happens is that after eating the apple, she's given a lot of knowledge. She's given knowledge that is a tough pill to swallow, but she's actually a lot more knowledgeable than she was before. Part of the Garden of Eden and the brilliance of the Garden of Eden was the innocence and kind of the naivete, so to speak, of not knowing what was going on around you. And so you kind of was able to live blissfully. When she ate the apple, all of a sudden she was given all this knowledge of how the world really was. And then, the story goes, they were cast out. So the snakes and serpents are actually symbols of knowledge and symbols of wisdom, and that's why you sometimes see powerful deities like Medusa that have them. They're not a sign of evil like people naturally think. And then again, the burning bush. Behind them is a mountain. Like I've said before, a mountain represents your potential. It represents the spiritual heights that you can climb if you choose to go that far. And that is kind of what they're dealing with here. They have not yet made the decision to take anything off a tree, but you can see what the consequence would be should they make the decision to do so. You also see the reward that can happen based off of whatever decision they choose. And it's up for them at this point to make a decision on which way they want to go. So another thing that's really important to point out about the lovers is that the lovers is in the sign of Gemini. So this does represent Gemini. And besides romance, which is what a lot of people think the Lover's card represents, the Lover card primarily represents collaboration, working together, group work, working with a partner, working with someone else. And with this comes contracts, negotiations, business dealing. It's the working with someone else in order to get the job done. Now, before we continue, again, let me go back to my notes because I don't want to steer you guys wrong. I want you guys to have everything you need. Lovers also signify a union, trust, sharing, right? Because it is a collaborative working partnership relationship, and like engagement, just dealing with others. And other times the Lover's card can directly refer to romance, although there are cards in the deck that, in my opinion, do a better job of being cards that are related to romance specifically. But you can see this pop out of romance, and because, again, there's two people, it can mean a union. And again, a union doesn't always have to be romantic, right? A union is the joining of two people, creating a union, and that can be for romantic relationships. It can also be for partnerships. It can be for business relationships, contracts, any time when there's any form of like collaborative effort. And on rare occasions, this card can also mean marriage because, again, union. But think more so of collaboration. If it pops up and you're talking about romance, that's fine because romance requires a minimum of two to tango. And but collaboration in schools, work, friendship, anything like that is your Lover's card. So I also want to say, and perhaps this is probably most important, I cannot believe that I almost left this out. The biggest thing with this card is choice. Oh, I can't believe I almost forgot that. It's choice. If you sit here and you look at them, they have to make a decision. What are they going to do? Are they going to take it off the tree? Are they going to eat it? What are they going to do? There's choice. And there's two of them. There's two people, which represents that there's most likely there'll be a choice between two different options, right? So if you see this card pop up and someone's saying, should I do this or should I do that? It just is signifying the fact that there is a choice there that needs to be made. Choice is a really big part of this card too, and you can remember that by seeing the trees in the background, by recalling the story and knowing that they do have to make a decision of whether or not they're going to eat it or not. So this is the end of the first part of this Learn Tarot series for the Major Arcana. We got 2 more parts to go. I hope this was really helpful. If you guys have any more questions or any of the other cards, please let me know, and I'll do my best to answer it. And as always, if you like what you see, subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys soon.